deep to right field. He has done it again. Unbelievable.
Coming up, we'll have a recap of the previous Padres game, a preview of today's starting pitching matchup, our keys to the game. Plus, we'll hear from manager Mike Shildt.
Ultimately, what we're here to do is win.
From the Padres Radio Network, here's Sam Levitt.
San Diego Padres baseball coming up on 97.3 The Fan and the Padres Radio Network. Today, the Padres take on the Los Angeles Dodgers in the final game of a 3-game series. Our starting pitching matchup today for the Dodgers, right-hander Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and for the Padres, right-hander Nick Pivetta. Hi, good everyone. Sam Levitt with you inside the Western Metal Building here at Petco Park. First pitch coming up at 1:10. Coming up in the next 50 minutes, we have a lot to do. We'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. We hear from new Padres infielder Will Wagner, called up from AAA earlier today. I go one-on-one with Dodgers broadcaster Jose Mota as we preview today's game. And in just a little bit, we check in with Bob Scanlan. But first, it's time to set the table, brought to you by Fraser Farms Market. Set your table with the highest quality of natural and organic products from Fraser Farms Market, a San Diego original since 1971 with 3 locations, La Mesa Vista and Oceanside, and at FraserFarmsMarket.com. Padres entered today 74-56. The Dodgers at 73-57. Padres enter the day with a 1-game lead on LA for first place in the National League West. Important to note, as we've said throughout this weekend, the Dodgers have already won the season series and hold the tiebreaker. So when it's all said and done at the end of the regular season, Padres have to finish ahead of the Dodgers to win the National League West. The Padres are red hot. They've won 5 in a row. Meanwhile, LA just 2-4 in their last 6 games since sweeping the Padres in LA last weekend. It was another playoff-type atmosphere here in downtown San Diego last night. Let's rewind.
Did you miss what happened in the last Padres game? Let's take a look back with our Padres Rewind on the Padres Radio Network.
Let's start in the bottom half of the 4th inning. A scoreless game. The Padres loaded the bases against Tyler Glasnow for Ramon Laureano.
And Ramon hits it hard on the ground through the right side, a base hit. Machado has scored. O'Hearn is on his way. The throw goes to second, and a 2-run single for Ramon Laureano gives the Padres a 2-0 lead.
Jake Cronenworth hit a sac fly to make it 3-0. Meanwhile, Nestor Cortes was perfect through 5. He got the first out of the 6th inning, then gave up a 1-out single. Cortes got the next 2 outs. He was terrific. 6 shutout innings, 1 hit, 3 strikeouts, no walks. Jason Adam pitched a 1-2-3 7th inning. Jeremiah Estrada gave up a pinch hit solo home run to Alex Freeland in the 8th to make it 3-1. But in the bottom half of the 8th inning, the Padres had an answer. There were 2 in scoring position for the X-Man.
And Xander lines it the other way towards the right field corner. That's a fair ball. Gonna bounce up against the wall. Tatis has scored. Machado has scored. Xander into second with a 2-run double, and it's 5-1.
Adrian Morejon had recorded the final out of the 8th inning. He stayed on in the 9th inning to put on the finishing touch.
1-1, the pitch to Betts. Swung on, grounded to second base, should be the game. Cronenworth's got it. On for the first is in time, and the ball game is over.
Padres win it by a final score of 5-1. They have won this series against the Dodgers, and now a golden opportunity today to sweep the LA Dodgers here at home. Final meeting between these 2 teams in the regular season, and an opportunity for the Padres to move 2 games ahead of LA for first place in the National League West. Padres have now won 7 of their past 8 series. They're 22-12 so far in the second half after the All-Star break. In this 5-game winning streak, the Padres have outscored opponents 28-8. As always, if you want to get involved on our pregame coverage, you can do that in a number of different ways. You can find me on X at Sammy Lev, SammyLev. Instagram DM's open as well, Sammy Lev there too. You can also chime in on the 97.3 The Fan YouTube channel. If you're watching on our video stream right now, let me know who you are, where you're tuned in from, and if you have a key to today's game. How do the Padres sweep the Dodgers on a beautiful Sunday here in downtown San Diego? Let me know what your key to the game is, and I may just read it live here on the air. Let's go behind home plate and inside the Jerry Coleman Broadcast Center.
Let's take a trip up to the Padres broadcast booth for a deep dive on today's matchup with Bob Scanlan in our Padres game preview on the Padres Radio Network.
All right, Scans, let's start with a deep dive into each of these lineups, the way they've gone about it in this series. Let's start with the Padres. They have not hit a home run in the first two games of this series, although they've won both games. What stood out to you about what the Padres have done offensively so far this weekend?
Petco approach, Sam, and Victor Rodriguez talked about it at the end of the Giants series and coming into this series. Get back to using the big part of the field. Don't get greedy. Just give what they're giving you, and that's exactly what the Padres have done, isn't it? I mean, they've not tried to go for the home run. They've hit a lot of balls opposite field. I think Ramon Laureano's at bat yesterday was just another great example of it. You got bases loaded, or second and third, go opposite field, right? You're not, no matter what the pitch is, you don't see the Padres getting greedy and coming out of their shoes and missing the mistake. They're hitting opposite field. They're using the big part of the field. That's number one. Number two, they've been incredibly disciplined. They have not helped out any of the pitchers that they've seen recently, whether it was the Giants or the Dodgers, in terms of chase. In fact, I heard a stat today that in the first game where they were facing Glasnow, there was a 44% chase rate by the Padres batters. In yesterday's ball game, that was reduced in half to 22%. So the Padres are being incredibly disciplined right now, and we're seeing the results. They're forcing the opposition to make pitches in the zone. They're not chasing out of the zone, and when they're getting their pitches in the zone, they're not trying to get too greedy with it. You put it all together. And they've been, great at bats. We've seen grind at bats as well, like Luis Arraez yesterday, setting the stage for the big inning after he has a 10-pitch at bat the inning before. Just all of these little things, Sam, where the Padres are executing their game plan. And to your point, it's not about the long ball. It's about getting a sacrifice hit down. It's about moving the guy over. It's about putting a good plate appearance, hitting the ball opposite field when you need to. It's just been the prototypical Padres approach executed to perfection over these last couple of games, and what do you see? You walk away with wins.
On the other side of the equation, the Dodgers, and I think it's sort of amazing, they have 2 runs on 5 hits so far in this series. Both runs have come via Alex Freeland solo home runs. I mean, you look at some of the numbers, the overall record in their last 42 games at 17-25. It's a big reason why the Padres are now sitting alone in first place entering today. Scans, what have you noticed about the Dodgers offensively in this series so far? It's been interesting.
Yeah, it has been interesting. Look, it's tough to say because, first of all, you, Darvish, and Nestor Cortez were amazing. They were carving with their off-speed pitches. So I guess that's the number one thing that I look at is, first of all, there have been very few mistakes that I felt like, the Dodgers are swinging through these balls and they're missing them. There was only 2 mistakes yesterday that I saw out of Cortez. One was a fastball that was supposed to go away to Freddie Freeman. He missed inner half of it. Freddie crushed it to center field and fortunately just stayed off the barrel enough, right? And then the base hit that he gave up, the only hit that he surrendered, was a mislocation pitch. Other than that, he was on the corners with everything. And when he was missing off the plate, missing in good spots. So that's one thing. First of all, credit to the Padres pitchers. But the other part of it was it almost looks like the Dodgers, in trying to respond to what they've seen out of Darvish and Cortez, which was a lot of cutters and a lot of sweepers really effectively located, they started to sort of look for those pitches, which kind of intuitively makes sense. The problem with that is when they're being well located, you're not going to do a lot of damage with them anyway. And then you leave yourself exposed to the fastball. So there have been some fastball opportunities, and the Dodgers are just a hair late on it. It's almost as though they're looking off speed, trying to adjust fastball. That is a tough way to do it. And, look, I'm obviously not in their heads, and I don't know what's going on, but that's sort of the look right now. And, it's not working out for them to the Padres' benefit.
Scans, to touch on this pitching matchup, it's a marquee matchup today. Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound for LA, a sub-3 ERA on the season. Nick Pivetta, a sub-3 ERA on the season on the mound for the Padres. He has been this team's ace, no doubt about it, all season long. How do you view this pitching matchup here today? It should be a fun one. Yeah, it should be a fun one. And again, a very different look than what we've seen from the Padres side for sure, right? In game number 1, you've got Darvish, right-hander with 11 different pitches, and he was carving things up a lot with the cutters and the sweepers that we were talking about. Then Nestor Cortez comes out the next day, and he's from the left side. Not as big a fastball as Darvish, but he was using that cutter incredibly effectively and the sweepers as well. So, that was sort of their MO. Now you've got the complete opposite today with Nick Pivetta, right? Big, tall right-hander, bringing the noise upstairs. He's a north-south guy. He's not going to be working east and west the way Darvish and Cortez were. So it's going to be a completely different look for him.
And going back and looking at how he approached the Dodgers last time, I'm really curious to see if he duplicates that. And Jesse and I will talk about it more in the broadcast. But, what he did against the Giants successfully in those last couple of outings, very different than what he tried to do against the Dodgers earlier in the season. So I'm curious if he takes the Giants approach and applies it now to the Dodgers, especially given what he's seen Yu Darvish and Cortez be able to do. So that's the Nick Pivetta story today. And then for Yamamoto, look, we know what he is. Fastball, split fingers. That split finger is absolutely nasty. If the Padres start chasing that thing, it could be a long day because nobody hits that split finger for the most part, Sam. So now it becomes a question of discipline, which, as we talked about at the start of this segment, was exactly what the Padres have been doing so successfully well. They've had a game plan. They've been disciplined to stick to it, and they've been able to execute. It's going to be even more of a challenge today, but in a different way. Previously, how disciplined can he be not to chase the fastballs upstairs against Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow? Today is different. It's down in the zone trying to not chase after a split finger from Yamamoto. So it'll be fun to watch.
Bob, great insight as always. We'll talk to you and Jesse coming up at the very top of the hour. Thanks so much.
Sounds great. Thanks, Sam.
All right, that's Bob Scanlan joining us on our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show here on the Padres Radio Network. We have a great pitching matchup today. Pivetta against Yamamoto. Padres looking for a 6th consecutive win. They're looking to break out the brooms in the final regular season meeting between the Padres and Dodgers. Who knows? These two teams could very well meet in October, but for now, this will be the end of Padres Dodgers here in the regular season in 2025. The only question is, will they be tied at the end of their season series? That's if the Dodgers win today, or can the Padres take advantage of a big opportunity today and move 2 games ahead of LA for first place in the National League West? When we come back, we'll hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Much more to do on our pregame coverage as we get ready for this series finale on a beautiful Sunday afternoon here in downtown San Diego. Our pregame coverage continues when we come back on the Padres Radio Network.
Stay tuned to the
Our EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park as the Padres take on the Los Angeles Dodgers. Final game of this 3-game series. Padres trying to sweep the Dodgers and win a 6th in a row. The West Divisional Showdown against Los Angeles is presented by Palomar Health, reimagining healthcare. As we get ready for today's game, let's hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt.
Let's pull up a seat in the manager's office and hear from Padres manager Mike Shildt. Served up by Sin Lee Food, where fresh meets flavor. Find farm fresh produce, bold Asian spices, and gourmet ingredients at 4665 El Cajon Boulevard. Sin Lee Food, the cook's Asian resource.
Another nice win for the Padres yesterday, 5-1 over LA. Nestor Cortes was simply terrific. 6 shutout innings allowed, just 1 hit. Adrian Morejon picked up his 3rd save of the season, inning and a 3rd scoreless. Padres got enough offense, 3 runs in the 4th inning, 2 runs in the 8th inning, and they cruised to a 5-1 win. Another very crisp, clean win for the Padres in this series and really in this 5-game winning streak. Let's revisit what Padres manager Mike Shildt had to say after last night's win.
Mike, what can you say about the start that Nestor gave you?
Man, that was tremendous. Got asked a lot about, what's the key for him? And, we're getting to know him and just said, just feels like once he gets into a rhythm, it's really good. And he got into rhythm right from the very first batter. And so just carried it through. And it was a fantastic effort for 6 one-hit baseball. It's the only blemish, didn't walk anybody, and thought he was tremendous.
Morejon's obviously been he's had some big spots this year. This was another one of them. What has stood out to you about the way he's been able to handle kind of his emergence into all these high leverage roles?
His attack, and his stuff's tremendous. He's not overly splitty, so he's got pitches for lefties and righties, but he's got 3 quality plus pitches that he imposes his will and gets after it in the strike zone, which is why he's able to be so efficient. We've been able to your point, we've used him a lot of different roles. One day we used him in the 4th to get out of a jam. He grabbed some of the 5th. And the next day, based on where our bullpen was, because we had to run through a lot of guys that particular day, and he was fresh to do what he did that day. The next day he got the 9th. Today he finished the 8th, got the 9th. But really it's about, and he's very representative of our bullpen. These guys go out and they've got really elite stuff, but their stuff plays in the zone.
For Cortes to do what he did, and O'Hearn and Laureano both have big hits in that 4th inning rally. Is this kind of an example of just how impactful those guys have been, the deadline acquisitions?
Oh, they've been huge. Again, tip of the hat to AJ and, tip of the hat to the clubhouse and the staff, and, obviously the biggest tip of the hat to the actual players that are doing it. And, tip of the hat for AJ for acquiring them, a tip of the hat for the clubhouse and the staff for acclimating, because that transition was really done well. It was intentional, it was done well. Our clubhouse did it. Some guys accepted roles that, they were going to have to take a little bit more of a different role, or in the eyes of some, a diminished role, and did it willingly and put their arm around them. And then these guys came in and, just absolutely embraced what we were about, and are just great fits, not only from a talent standpoint, from a character standpoint, and a desire to compete and win standpoint. So, Laureano, I love the fact that, we're getting in that situation, talked about it, 10-ish days ago, about, one of the last hurdles for us is being consistent with the approach runner scoring position. I just love Bogey the last couple of nights, sacrifice by, you mentioned Laureano, boom, after the walk from Manny, base hit the other way. It's not a guarantee, but it's just the right approach, not trying to do too much. Laureano, boom, 2-run single to right. Again, Bogey, the double down the right field line. We're going to do damage. We've shown some damage too, but as Toddy said, he took his 2 walks, got a bag, scored a run. Take what the game gives you.
What do you think of the way that you guys chased, or didn't chase, but you were able to chase Glass now, and you guys have been doing that a lot more? Fantastic.
A big swing in a lot of games are, anything that's free, we earned 6 walks today. Some guys took some really long, tough at bats. We had some long at bats that we still, we champion crony the other day, with the 12 pitch at bat that showed us up on the Sunday game. And, we had some longer at bats early that, just takes it out of guys a little bit. And, we were able to do that. We were able to take our walk, and that adds up. And I thought we were really stubborn and greedy to where we wanted to be against Glasnow and their pitching staff. And then, listen, we had 3 hits, scored 5 runs. Like I said, different recipes. And so, it's just a good offensive approach all the way. And again, I love the way our guys are getting better as the game goes. Second time through, there's a lot of dedication and proper focus to that.
That was Padres manager Mike Shildt. We got a photo here. All right. A young fan named Brantley coming to say hello. Had to get a photo with Brantley, right? All right. So that was Padres manager Mike Shildt before, or I should say after yesterday's game, as the Padres won it by a final score of 5-1. We'll hear from Mike on our post-game coverage coming up later on this afternoon. Military Sunday on the Padres Radio Network is presented by your San Diego County Toyota dealers. Every new Toyota comes with Toyota Care, no cost maintenance standard, so you get peace of mind standard. Let's take you around the horn.
Let's examine the most important news and the latest information you need to know in the world of Major League Baseball. Sam Levitt takes you around the horn. Presented by Valley View Casino and Hotel. Get ready for Major League winning when you join Valley View Casino and Hotel's Players Club and receive over $200 in free instant offers. Visit valleyviewcasino.com to learn more today.
Well, he mentioned this story yesterday, but I think it's a major, major story in baseball, obviously. Phillies ace Zach Wheeler will miss the remainder of the season and is expected to be out for 6 to 8 months after being diagnosed with venous thoracic outlet syndrome. The 35-year-old right-hander had surgery this week to remove a blood clot in his throwing shoulder. Sounds like Wheeler will likely get another surgery and could return by opening day 2026. Couple of other headlines. The Braves releasing veteran right-hander Eric Fetty today, less than 1 month after he was acquired from St. Louis. We'll have a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard in a bit, but just a note on the scoreboard today, pretty incredible note. Paul Skeens made his 50th career start today. He went 7 scoreless innings in a Pirates win today. Skeens has a 2.02 ERA now through his first 50 career starts, just behind the live ball era record that's since 1920 for the lowest ERA in a pitcher's first 50 starts. That was set by Vida Blue in the late 60s and early 70s at 2.01. So he's just off that all-time record, but I mean, really amazing. And I feel like it goes under the radar because he's with the Pirates and they're not very good. But Paul Skeens now through 50 career starts has a near 2 ERA. Amazing, amazing stuff from the right-hander. And that's a look at some headlines from around the major leagues. We'll take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard coming up a little bit later as well. When we come back, our keys to the game, we'll hear from new Padres infielder Will Wagner, who spent his first day inside the Padres clubhouse here today after getting traded from Toronto at the deadline. I also talk with Dodgers broadcaster Jose Mota about today's game. Much more to do. First pitch coming up at 1:10 here in downtown San Diego. Padres and the Dodgers. Final game of this 3-game series on the Padres Radio Network.
Hello, my friends. It's Woodsy. Did you know your water
Park as we get ready for today's game. First pitch coming up at 1:10 between the Padres and the LA Dodgers. Should be a fun one. Final meeting in the regular season between these two teams. Padres trying to build on what is a one-game lead on LA for first place in the National League West entering this Sunday. Everybody having a good time here inside the loft. It is hopping in here already. People enjoying their beers and their mixed drinks and all the great food they have to offer here in downtown San Diego. Let's give you the latest on the injury front for both the Padres and the Dodgers.
Who's in? Who's out? This is the Bada Fulkerson Injury Report, presented by San Diego's Bulldog Injury Attorneys, who hope you're never in an accident. But if you are, make Bada Fulkerson the first call you make. Hit them up 24/7 at badafulkerson.com.
As we told you yesterday, Jackson Merrill put on the 10-day IL. He'll be eligible to come off the IL on August 30th. That's the second game in Minnesota on this upcoming road trip. So Merrill put on the IL. Padres had not made a corresponding move yesterday, although they did make that corresponding move today. We'll talk about that in a moment. Dodgers getting a couple of big relievers back yesterday and on Friday. Tanner Scott was activated on Friday. He had been out with elbow inflammation. Kirby Yates activated yesterday. He had been out with lower back pain. Neither of those guys have appeared in this series so far. So that's a quick look at the injury updates for the Padres and the Dodgers. The corresponding move for the Padres earlier today was calling up Will Wagner from AAA El Paso. You might remember that the Padres traded for Wagner at the deadline. It was one of the smaller deals at what was a very busy trade deadline for the Padres. Wagner batted .237 with the Blue Jays in 40 games. He had 7 doubles, 7 RBIs. He's a versatile infielder, can play second base, shortstop, third base, so he's somebody who does bring a good glove, a versatile glove to the Padres. And again, when he gets in there, will make his Padres debut. And you should also know he is the son of newly inducted Hall of Famer Billy Wagner. I caught up with Will Wagner inside the Padres clubhouse earlier today.
Your first day inside this clubhouse following the trade from Toronto. Let's go back to the trade. What was your reaction when you got moved to the Padres?
A little shocked for sure. Wasn't expected to get traded. Didn't hear any rumors about me getting traded, but I loved a lot of those guys in Toronto, but I'm excited to be here and be a Padre.
What was the transition like when you got traded and then went down to AAA?
Pretty easy. Yeah, I think I met the team in Round Rock the next day and had a day off just to get familiar with everyone, get back on my feet, and then I was playing the next day. So it was a pretty quick process, but it was good.
Even with the whirlwind of the trade, have you paid pretty close attention to what's been going on up here? Obviously, this is a team in the middle of a pennant race.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think everyone's paying attention. You want the team up top to win, and that's the goal, to be here and keep winning with this team. They've been doing great. I hope I can just add to it.
Obviously, you're a guy who can play multiple positions. What have they told you kind of about your role, their expectations for you up here?
Not too much so far, but I mean, I was playing everywhere in AAA, so I'm just going to be expected to play everywhere and just be ready when my name's called.
That was Will Wagner earlier today inside the Padres clubhouse. Will activated for today's game, and he will be available off the bench for the Padres in this series finale against the Dodgers. First pitch coming up at 1:10. Let's give you our keys to today's game.
How will the Padres unlock a win today? These are the keys to the game. Presented by El Centro Motors Ford. Meet your new Ford General Manager, Greg Ryan, now at El Centro Motors Ford, your new Ford truck, Bronco, and SUV HQ. Call Greg directly at 619-944-0774.
Key number 1, get to Yamamoto. The Padres have won 5 in a row, and a big reason why they are getting to the opposing starter early in games. Last night was the 4th time in the past 5 games that the Padres have gotten to the opposing starting pitcher. Well, they've got him out of the game before he completed 5 innings. They've got to try to get to Yamamoto early today. We'll talk more about Yamamoto with Jose Mota coming up in a little bit. Key number 2, a raking Ramon. Ramon Laureano had another big hit last night, a 2-run single to put the Padres ahead in the 4th inning. Laureano is now batting .338 with a .977 OPS in his 21 games as a Padre. That is the 15th highest OPS of any player in his first 21 games with San Diego. Key number 3, One more in the regular season against Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani went 0-3 against the Padres on Friday night. He was 0-4 last night. Now, in 12 games against the Padres, Ohtani is hitting just 178 against them with a 569 OPS. I mean, keep in mind, for the season, Ohtani is hitting 280, an OPS north of 1,000, and 44 home runs. So, key here today, can the Padres limit him for one more game in the regular season? Ohtani, though, is 5-for-14 with 2 home runs and 2 doubles lifetime against Nick Pivetta. By the way, Freddie Freeman also batting .385 with 6 extra base hits in his career against Pivetta. It goes beyond Ohtani. Can the Padres limit the Dodgers stars one more time in this season series? Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, and Teoscar Hernandez are a combined 2-for-36 in the first 2 games of this series. Can the Padres limit the top of their lineup once again here today? That's a look at key number 3, a long key, but a big key nonetheless, and that's a look at our keys to today's game. Let's take a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard, tell you what's going on around the major leagues on this Sunday.
Let's take a trip around the bigs to highlight the scores that matter most with our out-of-town scoreboard. Presented by Jensen Premium Beef Patties. Always a hit for grilling.
We told you about Paul Skeens going 7 scoreless innings against the Rockies today. Pirates beat the Rockies in Pittsburgh 4-0. Games going on right now. Orioles ahead of the Astros 3-1 in the 8th inning in Baltimore. Mets and the Braves tied at 2 in Atlanta in the 8th inning. Phillies and the Nationals in Philadelphia into the 7th inning there. Phillies leading 3-0. Royals ahead of the Tigers 10-7 in Detroit in the 7th inning. Marlins lead the Blue Jays 4-3 in Miami in the 7th inning. White Sox ahead of the Twins 7-0 in the 5th inning in Chicago. Giants 2, Brewers 1 in the 3rd in Milwaukee. Guardians and the Rangers are scoreless in the 4th inning in Arlington. We have one game in a rain delay before first pitch. That's the Cardinals in Tampa Bay against the Rays. And 2 games yet to begin. We actually have a handful of games yet to begin. Cubs and the Angels at 1:07 in Anaheim. Reds and the Diamondbacks in Arizona at 1:10. A's and Mariners in Seattle at 1:10. And finally, Red Sox and the Yankees, Sunday Night Baseball later on today at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And that's a full look at the out-of-town scoreboard on this Sunday. When we come back, we break down this great pitching matchup between Nick Pivetta and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Plus, I talk with Dodgers broadcaster Jose Mota. Much, much more to do on our pregame coverage. We're back to Petco Park after this on the Padres Radio Network.
You're listening to the
SoCal Padres pregame show continues here on the Padres Radio Network. Sam Levitt with you inside the loft here at the Western Metal Building at Petco Park. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. A great pitching matchup here today for this series finale. Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Padres. Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound for the LA Dodgers. I chat with Jose Mota, Dodgers broadcaster, in just a moment. First, let's tell you what to watch for in today's game.
What's the one thing Sam Levitt will be keeping his eye on in today's game? This is What to Watch For, presented by Genesis Home Improvements, San Diego's trusted painting, roofing, and window company. Save 15% today on a new beginning for your home. Visit GenesisHomeImprovementsSD.com.
What to watch for in this series finale as the Padres look for a sweep of LA and a 6th consecutive win. I want you to bring the radio close. Lean in. I'm not saying this is the end-all be-all today, but I would be lying to you if I didn't tell you this is a big game for the San Diego Padres. They have an opportunity to move 2 games ahead of LA. If they don't win today, it's back to a tie, and the Dodgers hold the tiebreaker. They've got Nick Pivetta on the mound. That guy has been their ace all season long. So what am I watching for in today's game? Can Fernando Tatis Jr. end this home run drought? 26-game drought, 102 at-bats, the longest of his major league career. We've talked plenty about the good he's been doing, a .411 on-base percentage during that stretch. But is today the day for Fernando in a huge game here at Petco Park? He swung the bat pretty well lately. Can he go deep and end this drought? That's what I'm watching for in today's game as the Padres take on the LA Dodgers. First pitch coming up at 1:10. Let's continue to discuss today's game and this pitching matchup. I caught up with Dodgers broadcaster Jose Mota earlier today.
We continue to get ready for today's game against the LA Dodgers series finale as the Padres go for a sweep of the Dodgers. And right now we're joined by Dodgers broadcaster Jose Mota. Jose, appreciate you taking some time to join us. How would you characterize what this series has been so far?
Sam, first of all, thanks for having me on. It was always a pleasure to be on the waves in San Diego. Obviously, my reminders and memories of 1991 will forever live, even though it's short. But what I've seen so far is just a Padre team that continues to be very consistent in the way they play. Mm-hmm. And they're not playing into the hands of the Dodgers. They're playing their game. I mean, it's amazing to me how much they have sacrificed bunts. I mean, 40 sack bunts coming into yesterday was pretty amazing. And the fact that they insist in doing it. Obviously, the pitching is enviable. They have outstanding pitching. The additions have been tremendous. And, they fill the zone and they adapt to what they see in the batter's box. So what they saw at Dodger Stadium last weekend is much different than what they're seeing from the Dodgers now. And from Darvish to Cortez, I mean, you can just see how they've done their work to get to the weaker spots of the hitting zone of the hitters, and guys so far had not adjusted.
To zoom out on the Dodgers a little bit, the Dodgers had a big lead in the division in early July, and part of the reason the Padres are where they are is they've played well, but the Dodgers have not played particularly well overall since early July. How would you characterize kind of what's gone on the last month and a half from a Dodger perspective?
If we start with where the bullpen was, how overused it was early in the season, we're seeing some of the things now that have hurt them. Number two is starting pitching was not giving you enough innings. We finally have starters now back, and now the offense is absent. So I think the main thing to me, the culprit has been the offense. Yeah. Guys are okay to get, if you're a starter and you give up 3 or 4 runs, that's not a bad outing, okay? You can't expect to be 6 innings and 1 run or 2 runs every single time out. Thus, the names of the Dodgers have in that lineup have not produced on a consistent basis because sometimes the offense gets way too one-dimensional, which is slugging, which is great. To me, slugging is a separator, okay? But you have to still play the game right, move guys over, play the small game, and then the personnel, sometimes there's a lot of swing and miss, which has been an issue as of late, and sometimes poor adjustments. Now, the talent's still there. I mean, we have Shohei, obviously Freddie and Will Smith and things like that, but in a group like Teoscar Hernandez so far is a guy that right now he can pinpoint, and teams can go, we're not going to let him beat us. And it seems like every at-bat that's important during the game, it gets to him. Not to blame just him, but obviously it's collectively they need to be more than one-dimensional, and it's shown up. Because if you go back to October, it was a different offense.
Right.
Tommy Edman was a big part of that, not because of his power. He ended up hitting with some power, but no. And so he's been missed. And the fact that Max Muncy has been out has been a key factor because Muncy extends innings. He prolongs at bats like Arias yesterday.
Right.
That's what Muncy does. And so far, no excuses. They need somebody like that to just prolong at bats a little more.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday in the post game, that 10-pitch at bat by Luis Arias to end the third. You then look at what happened in the fourth inning against Glasnow. Certainly felt like a big part of yesterday's win. We're joined by Dodgers broadcaster Jose Mota as we get ready for today's game, focusing on this pitching matchup. Yoshinobu Yamamoto having a great year for LA. What makes him so effective when he's going right?
He throws darts. I mean, he is like pinpoint kind of guy, pitcher with some power that can go out there and be a finesse guy too, because he will streak, he will, steal a strike with a curveball early and kind of baffle guys going, hey, wait a minute, I thought that was a 2-strike pitch. But he'll throw that early. He has location on the curveball too. It's not just like, let me spin it and make sure it's down. He'll go, hey, I want this curveball to be up and in as for a strike, and he'll do that. The case with Yamamoto too is the lack of run support. He should have more wins right now. He gives you innings. On the downside for him is keep an eye on the walks early in games. In his career overall, if you look at his numbers, I would say at least 40% of the walks have come in the first 3 innings, which is when he allows the most runs, highest ERAs. But man, he battles, and he is out there with a mentality of attack. He needs to complement everything else with splitter and his curveball with a good sinker, because he is actually a ground ball pitcher, which just happened to be pretty amazing to me too. And he battles through, and he'll give you the effort. But if he misses early and too much over the plate, 95, 97 is not going to get it done. The Padres did to him against back in Korea and also early last season. So it's going to be fun to watch. I mean, Pivetta himself, with power, a guy who's very emotional, a guy that really wants to, as we say, just carve you out. It should be a fun one today. The Dodgers need to play better and see how they can get to Pivetta, because the one thing the Dodgers might have going for them today is the fact that Pivetta is an attacker, and maybe they're missing that to go, if we attacks, we got to do just a little bit less, because so far they're trying to do too much. It's not worked.
Interesting. Good insights on both starting pitchers. Jose, very much appreciate the time. Certainly should be another fun one. Final meeting between these two teams in the regular season. Feels like we should have more in September, right?
I hope to see you in October.
Yeah, it would be a lot of fun to get together. Jose, thanks so much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
That was Jose Mota, Dodgers broadcaster, earlier today. Very good insight on this matchup between the Padres and the Dodgers. Series finale. Padres trying to sweep L.A. We talked with Jose about the pitching matchup. Let's dive a little bit deeper into it. Right-hander Yoshinobu Yamamoto, 27 years old, on the mound for L.A. today. 10-8, a 2.90 ERA, 24 starts on the season, 133 and 2/3 innings, 151 strikeouts, 46 walks. His last start against the Rockies in Colorado went 7 innings, 3 earned runs given up on 4 hits. His start prior to that was maybe his roughest of the season. Came against the Angels, gave up 6 earned runs on 6 hits in 4 2/3 innings. This will be his second start against the Padres this season. Faced them in June at Dodger Stadium. Went 6 innings and a third, 3 earned runs given up on 7 hits. Xander Bogaerts took him deep in that game. Believe it or not, this will be Yamamoto's first ever start here at Petco Park. All his starts last year, both in the regular and postseason, came in L.A. Yamamoto has a 7.05 ERA in 5 career starts against the Padres. Manny Machado has 2 home runs against them. Xander Bogaerts is 6 for 10 against them with a home run and a couple of doubles. Right-hander Nick Pivetta on the mound for the Padres today. He has been the Padres ace all year. 32 years old. He's 13-4, 2.81 ERA, 25 starts on the season, 147 innings and a third. He struck out 154. Last start against the Giants, he was very good. 6 innings, 1 earned run given up on 3 hits. He has made 1 start this season against the Dodgers, and by Pivetta's very high standards this season, it was a tough one here at Petco Park. 4 innings, 5 runs given up, 4 earned, 8 hits, and he gave up a home run to Will Smith. But I will note, Will Smith is not in the lineup today for the Dodgers. It is the rookie Dalton Rushing doing the catching and batting ninth. So good news for Pivetta. No Will Smith in the lineup today, and that's a look at our starting pitching matchup, a marquee matchup on this Sunday. Nick Pivetta for the Padres and Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound for L.A. As always, thank you for listening to the EcoWater SoCal Padres pregame show. EcoWater SoCal, keeping it soft since 1925. Your water should be perfect. And once again, the West Divisional Showdown against Los Angeles is presented by Palomar Health. reimagining healthcare. Well, the Padres have won the first 2 games of this series, and today they look to make a statement against LA. How's it going to go? Well, we're going to find out in just a little bit. When we come back, Jesse Agler, Bob Scanlan have the full starting lineups, first pitch, and all the play-by-play. I'll talk to you on our post-game coverage. You're listening to your home for San Diego Padres baseball, 97.3 The Fan, and the Padres Radio Network.